Ladies and gentlemen, Howard Ford, he had an idea for a horror film. He would combine elements of John Carpenter's The Thing with elements of Neil Marshall's The Descent. He pitched the idea to Latitude Films. They liked it, said okay, and then they found a distributor in Play On Pictures. Now, to help out a little bit with the budget, Ford wrote the movie, then shot it, lit it, edited it, and directed it. Sounds a little bit like Robert Rodriguez, does it not? Yes, it does. It is tonight's lesson plan, and it is a goodie. As cinematic class is about to begin, and your professor is it. Greetings, salutations, and other sundry affair. I am your cinematic professor and purveyor of truth in movies, and tonight's lesson plan is a movie called Bonekeeper. Now, just like John Carpenter's The Thing, this movie starts many moons ago with an alien that crashes onto Earth, not in a fancy spaceship this time, but rather while riding on a meteor. Okay? It takes residence in a cave along a mountain range, and that cave becomes myth and legend to the nearby inhabitants who avoid it like the plague. Now, back in the mid 1970s, James Wheeler decides he enters the cave, searching around, and he just disappears, pure and simple. Apparently, a lot of people who go into these caves disappear, but what makes Wheeler's disappearance different is that many decades later, his granddaughter, Olivia, along with about, say, 5 of her very adventurous colleagues, are determined to investigate the disappearance. This brings them into direct contact with Professor Harrison. Professor Harrison is the only man who has actual physical proof of a creature living in the caves and feasting off of wayward explorers.
Life could be spread by meteorites from one part of the universe to another.
Whoa, check out that view.
This is the site of the impact crater, several 100,000 years ago.
I feel like she's here. And you're here for them both.
You must not go into those caves. Never come out alive.
Okay, this is it. Ready?
Yeah.
Ladies first. Just kidding.
Wheeler's footage made it out. That Super 8 film he took in '76.
I processed it with my own hands. That's why I know it's real. This is what he saw.
Holy shit, what was that?
Where did it come from?
You really think it's a creature?
What is that?
There are hundreds of caverns under there, maybe thousands.
We're lost, Ethan.
Let's try this way. Those bones look human.
Yeah.
Fresh.
Ethan? Nick, if that's you guys, this isn't...
Oh my god.
Welcome to TikTok, you fat fuck!
In front of the camera for this one, we have Sarah Mark. She plays Olivia, the granddaughter. seeking out what happened to her grandfather. Lewis James is Ethan. He's the kind of let's say alpha male who leads up this troop of investigators. He was last seen in a movie called Manor of Darkness, and this was just a few short months ago. I did a review on that movie as well, and if you scroll down a little bit on this page, you will find my review of that movie. Tiffany Hannon Daniels, one of the dreaded three named people, stops by, as does John Rhys Davies. He plays Professor Harrison, and of course, everybody knows him from his role in Raiders of the Lost Ark and the other Indiana Jones, and also from the Lord of the Rings series. So I mentioned earlier that Howard Ford basically does everything behind the camera, and he does a really good job at it. That's kind of unusual. Usually, when one person wears many hats, some of those hats fit better than others, but in this, they all fit well. He's done a very good job, and that's why I earlier made the reference to Robert Rodriguez, because there aren't many who can pull this off. Rodriguez does, and now Ford does in this movie. I also want to mention someone else behind the camera. That's Max Vandebanks. He's the guy responsible for all the special effects and the creatures, what have you, in the cave. He does a really good job on this one. He does, and for those of you who like gore in your horror movies. You must have some gore in order to make it be a complete horror film. He does well on those also because the gore scenes stand right next to the monster scenes, and together they make this very watchable. So I have to tell you, folks, this was an awful lot of fun to watch. Now, while many of the scenes, and truthfully, even some of the monsters, will be readily recognizable as purloined from the films that Bonekeeper is derived from, it's done almost as a homage rather than as a blatant, cheap kind of ripoff. And that is a good thing. Now, if there is one flaw to this movie, it's the abruptness of the conclusion. It reminds me a little bit of Jurassic Park 3, when it seems like there's no escape, and then suddenly there's this strange character on a beach in a tuxedo, and you go, wait a minute, one of these things just doesn't belong here. You kind of sort of like that a little bit. But other than that, I think you'll enjoy this one, especially if you are a horror monster fan. I think you'll want to watch this several times and probably add it to your collection. We're going to give this one a stellar grade. And now that you have learned what you have learned, here ending.